Are you trying to figure out how to get things done? Are you trying to look for knowledge that can actually help you do something, be better at what you do? Hi, I'm Joyce Mbaya, founder of ZD, where we provide affordable online courses for Africa. This is the place for you, the ZD podcast, where we have inspiring conversations with amazing people. And the ultimate goal is to help you know more so you can do more.
So guys, welcome to today's podcast. We have a special guest with us today, and you're going to hear from her later. But firstly, of course, as usual, I'm Boniface Muthamia. I'm the project manager ZD, and as always, excited to bring you this podcast, more knowledge, and of course, create more awareness on what we have on the ZD platform. So I have my colleague again here with me today. Just want to give him a chance to say hi before we proceed.
Hi guys, it's me, Kevin Kabingu, content lead for ZD. Happy to be back this week. Happy to hear from someone new. Today I'm going in fresh. Never met her before. Very excited to know what she does, and I hope you guys will get a lot from this episode. Thank you, Bonnie.
Thanks, Kevin. That was you brought the energy, which I really love.
We have to.
we bring in the energy. Okay, so we do have a special guest, and as I said, she is an instructor on ZD, and her name is Linda. So Linda has over 10 years experience in the industry teaching fashion business at Mcensal School of Fashion, a leading college in East Africa. While there, she rose to become the quality nominee for the syllabus, where she was responsible to ensure that the standards were maintained according to the international requirements of the syllabus. And of course, this immense knowledge and experience she gained while teaching there led her to establish a successful ready-made fashion brand called Kamami Bliss. Now, her work has been featured in numerous publications, including Couture Africa Magazine, Salon Magazine, Eve Woman, and the People Day. So Linda also has been invited to speak about fashion on K24's Business Daily, KTN's Morning Show, and Inooro's TV, Ikumbi, Withi. Anyway, so Linda has also written fashion articles for Yakuti Magazine, Couture Magazine, and Ashley's Beauty Magazine. She has also been an introduction leader for 4 years with Landmark Worldwide, a personal and professional growth and development company that trains people to live their best life. And I know you are excited to get to hear from Linda. I just want now to bring her on so that we can be able now to hear from herself. So Linda, even before you do much of the introductions, we know you have so much experience, and even the course that you have on ZD and fashion, we are going even to talk about that. But first, we want to get to know who is Linda. Like, where did she grow up? How did she, where she went to school? Such things. So we just want to start with your background, even before we head over to the business side. So who is Linda? Where did she grow up? Went to school?
Okay, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I grew up in Meru. I was born and raised. I was always just a creative child. I was always cutting clothes. At some point, my mother just stopped making noise about it and just allowed me to be. So I was always that child. I would make my own dolls. You know, that time, these Barbie dolls that are so available these days, they weren't really there.
Yeah.
So, and I remember having this one stiff plastic doll. It didn't have any arms or legs. It was just like a mold. Yeah, it was just stiff and plastic. And so it wasn't that interesting. So I would do my own two things on the side. And then, so that's how I was just naturally very creative. And that's how it started. Then I went to school in Eldoret at Baraton University. And interestingly enough, I didn't even do home science in high school. And I didn't even, when I went to school, Baraton University, I was going to do clinical lab science, because it was said to be marketable at that time. Because the whole concept of fashion at that time, really, even today, it's still a bit. It's better now, but even then, it was like, what kind of career are you going to have? So it was considered I'm just doing things for enjoyment, for my like a hobby. But now you need to get a serious job. So I went to do clinical lab science, and I did not do well. I did it for a year, and there were these chemistry classes and all these physics classes, and I didn't enjoy it at all. And so after 1 year of doing this, I was having a conversation with my mother, and just casually telling her, well, this course is so hard, like I'm struggling. And then she listened to me, and she's like, if you're struggling this much, why don't you just change to something else? And I was like, I didn't think that was an option. I was very happy, because when I was sharing with her, I wasn't sharing to get a change. I was just sharing. So that's how I went back to university the next year, and then I just changed to fashion and design. Although at that time they used to call it clothing and textiles. That's how I started.
That name was not very maybe. It sounds very...
I know.
Yeah.
It sounds very technical and like...
Yeah. It's like I'm pipetting fabrics.
Exactly. And discovering new fabrics from maybe banana fibers or something.
Yeah.
So that's how I ended up doing that. It was a lot of theory, in all honesty. We stitched, I learned how to do a bit of cutting and a bit of stitching, but there was the practical skills that one needs to be in the market successfully. They were not really there at that point. I usually say that I went to grow up in college. It was a phase where I needed to grow up, face different scenarios, be on my own in life, to prepare me for life, because it wasn't enough. So when I came out, I was not very prepared at all.
Like, you're not ready for the market.
Oh no, not at all. In fact, like if you told me I stitch something for you, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it because I didn't trust myself.
How long did it take? 4 years?
Yeah, 4 years.
For 4 years, and you came out and you couldn't do it.
I couldn't do it because you need to learn how to, like, if I come to you, I need to learn how to make something for you, take measurements for you, make patterns for you. There we did a lot of what are they called? Commercial patterns. They're already created, so I don't have to think, how do I adjust this to fit Kevin? How do I adjust this to fit somebody else? It was all done already. And then there was just a disconnect. So like there are these pattern papers, but pattern drafting is where you create, let's say like templates. Like if you want to create a sleeve, there's a template for a sleeve and there's a template for trousers, different ones, yeah? So those are the ones that we adjust to for different sizes and different styles. So, and these things are made of paper, which you place on the fabric and cut. So when we used to do these things, I never used to connect. So this is what you need to do. They were just things I'm given by my teacher. I cut, and then I stitch. I never used to connect. This is what you need to do to adjust. And then a lot of the practical work. We didn't stitch many things, but we did a lot of patterns, but not in the full size. We used to do like a minimized version of it so that it can fit in our exercise books. So like we call that quarter scales. So it's like it's like a small thing. So it's the same like shape. Yeah, exactly. So we are cutting all these to makaratasis. We are cutting and cutting As in, we cut and filled that book, but I didn't understand. I was just doing assignments so that I can pass my exams
Wow.
and finish.
So you never
Yes.
got a chance to exercise your creative side
It
when
was
you were
there.
on campus.
I was doing a lot of DIY. I can call it that. You know how you see something, you're like, this can work. Then I imagine how it can work. Then I do my own shortcuts. Yet I'm in school to learn that, but somehow there's a disconnect. I'm not understanding that this is what you need to do to achieve this shape. Me, I'll cut and then it backfires and then I try again, you know?
So for you, it was trial and error.
It was a lot of trial and error, unless the bits where we were actually guided, because now in that season, I got to work in the school used to have student workers. Like you could work in the school and then whatever amount you earn is paid into your school fees. So it just goes into the school fees. You're not given the money. So because I was in the textiles department, I ended up working in they had a production unit. So I used to stitch a lot of aprons and lab coats now for the other departments in the school, because the whole university was relying on each other. So if you need clothes, if you need curtains or anything, you go to that department. If they need food, there's the agriculture department, has everything from yogurt to ice cream to tomatoes, all that. So I could stitch, but you see, all these things had already been cut for me. And so, yes, I understood it, but not as a creator, but as a follower. You understand?
A follower.
Yeah.
So, okay, I get the picture.
Yes.
And now you leave campus because you don't have now that, there's that confidence that you live with, that you're very sure that if I'm given a chance, I can be able to produce. So you get into the world. So then what happens next?
And before she goes out to the world, how was the final project done? If it was, because I'm thinking that's supposed to be your own vision. How was that done?
It was guided. It was done. You see, I could do things very easily for myself, because it's me. I'll take it, I'll try it, I will adjust the way I feel works. So I did a few things for myself, and then the other things, I remember we stitched a suit. It was the most unproportional thing ever, but we still got good grades because of good effort. Followed all the rules. Will it fit? Maybe not, but it's okay. So the guidance was there. It's just there was no connection to the market. That was the issue.
That's a big weakness of our education system.
Oh my gosh! Hey, watcha too. A very, very big one. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I passed, I finished, I was happy. Now I'm out. Now, where is the job coming from? Now, remember when I went in, the whole concept of fashion is a hobby. So there was this conversation of, let's just look for another job that just needs you to have a degree. You don't really have to look in fashion. And so my search began. We looked in banks, I applied, called all the people, the
uncles.
Yeah. Exactly.
The one that ask you for the CV.
Yes, all those. There was even at some point, I remember we had a family event where a politician, a prominent one, I will not name names, but he came for that event. And he's friends with my uncle. And I tell you, I had my CV. Ilimpatia. It didn't yield anything, but I gave this man my CV. So after that, after doing this, I did a couple of odd jobs. At some point, I was somebody's PA, just doing jobs here and there to get some money. And I just continued creating things for myself. I've always enjoyed creating things to wear for myself or just things around the house. And then now it started.
Just a minute. When you say you create for yourself, so like it's like you have a machine in the house, right? Or you just use your hand?
Yes, I got a machine. Yes, I got a machine because that's way faster. Teaching by hand takes a lot of patience and grace.
And the grace. Okay.
Yeah.
So So you used to like design your own things, and then you even the house, those everything.
Yes. Yes. Or if I buy something like something interesting, especially in second hand, tumba, I edit it. Even if it's a big size or...
I've never heard someone talk about editing clothes.
Yeah. Yes, I would edit it.
Oh, wow.
And
Bonnie, that's professional talk. Tumba wa kukata.
Sasa una edit, so I create two things, maybe to fit me, or if it's an interesting fabric, I take it and make something else. But you see, it never extended beyond me. It was always for me because it's easy to make things for yourself.
Yeah.
So now after wondering about this fashion career, I was like, Sasa, the next thing to do is pursue a master's so that I can now teach.
Yeah.
Because now, as in, I couldn't see how I can launch a fashion house, as in, it just wasn't something I was thinking about. And I somehow think the education I received didn't support me to think that way. Yeah. So my mind wasn't entrepreneurial in any way in that sense. But interestingly, I had started making necklaces, beaded necklaces. I'd learned. I went, sat with those Maasai people in Maasai market and learned. They taught me. So I used to sell those. I used to sell a lot of those, but not clothes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Clothes, it was just a matter of you didn't have the confidence to...
No, not at all. Yeah. So I start my master's at Kenyatta University. The first year goes very well because it is theory. I'm good at theory, remember? I can read, I can write papers, I can do all these things. I love the final project. They're not hard. All you need to do is design. You don't have to stitch anything yourself. So that was easy. I had somebody stitch for me. And then comes the bit that is called thesis writing. I did it once, I did it twice, I did it thrice, I did it over and over. I think I did it. You know how it goes, yeah? You write, you submit, comes back with corrections, go back and forth. Where at some point I stopped. I would take breaks because I was highly discouraged by the whole process. And now in that season, because now I had already enrolled in a master's and had finished my coursework, I started applying for teaching jobs in all the private colleges around. Not the ones that the universities, you have to have a degree to teach. I mean, a master's.
Masters, yeah.
Yeah, so I applied, and then I actually got two at the same time.
Yeah.
And then one wanted me to move to Eldoret, and I was like, no, I've just left Eldoret. I'm not coming back. I'm not going back. So I chose the one that kept me in Nairobi, and that's Mcensal School of Fashion.
So that's how you got there.
Yes, and I think this is like 2012 or 2013, thereabout.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then now you start teaching fashion there.
Yes. Originally, I started teaching patterns, which was, I could understand it because in now KU, at least I got to grasp. You remember that disconnection I had? Yes. Finally, I got to shikanisha those two small to things, those two small papers we used to cut, like, oh, this was the armhole, oh my gosh, and this was the neck. Yeah. So imagine after all those years. So I taught that for like a semester, and then my passion was more into the fashion business side, and so that's how. So we had a conversation with my then boss, and it was easier for me to take more of the fashion marketing, fashion entrepreneurship classes. And then there was also this class called fashion history, which was very interesting for me. And so that's how I ended up now getting really deep into fashion business and really learning and getting to teach it for the 8 years that I did. Yeah.
Wow. So you got into the fashion business side. That is what I'm feeling like. You taught about marketing, entrepreneurship. So you are like teaching them now practical skills they can apply when they leave campus. Kevin, you are asking something.
No, I was asking the moment she had that epiphany, because before she had talked about, she didn't really think about the business and all that. When was that moment? Even when you're taking, before even, I'm thinking it's before you had that discussion with your boss about taking, was it fashion business classes? Yeah. When did that moment come?
When I realized it was just one of those moments where I realized I love because the school I worked in had a lot of books. They have a very equipped library. Because they would buy, those books are not available locally. So the owner would go abroad and literally bring those books herself because she's passionate about fashion that way. So I would just read all those books and I was just mesmerized at how the fashion industry works out there. And we don't know it, like we don't talk about it, or rather I didn't talk about it. So that's how the realization started coming, because I was also struggling with those classes for patterns. I didn't enjoy them, I didn't like them. I respect them, but I just don't want to be part of them.
Yeah, this is not me.
It's not working for me.
Yeah.
You respect them. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So then now from there you launch your own then business now, fashion business also. Kamami. Will you talk to us more about the Kamami fashion business now?
So after teaching the students, seeing them do things, I'm learning stuff, I'm doing research, I'm talking to local designers here and telling them, do this, do that, But then it was still not as practical as I would have liked it to, because I wasn't talking from experience, yeah? So after, this was when, 2015, I did this personal development program called the Landmark Forum. And in that, it's just something, it's an interesting course. And it's in that I found my confidence to just try without fear. So it's now after that in now 2015-16, that season, I was like, you don't need anything more than you already are. Like I thought I needed to save more money. I needed, more experience. Most of the designers that I knew at that time, they were much, much older. They had lots of experience. They were wealthy in my eyes. So in my thoughts were like, I need time, and then one day. So it literally began like that, like a joke. I went, bought fabric, and told somebody, I have this idea. Can you make it for me? And then he did. And then I kept talking to different people. A friend of mine is a photographer. I was like, hey, I'm thinking of doing a photo shoot. Can you help me? And he's like, yeah, in fact, we'll do it for free. This thing was happening like magic, yeah? or maybe let's say a miracle. So I talked to this
Magic.
person. He gave me a photo shoot, a free venue. Models came through, and then another friend of mine does what are these things? Events. So she had a fashion event, and she's like, would you like to showcase? And that was my very first fashion show. As in, I didn't even know how these things go in terms of me being in them. I'd been part of them, but not on the front. Yeah, and so that's how it began. It began.
I know that
way.
moment. Yeah, I know that moment. You felt like, Kumbe, this is possible. I was just the one was scared. Yeah.
And it's not as complicated as I had thought before. I didn't need to have saved hundreds of thousands of shillings. It's just what I already had, to start.
Yeah, I like that. That's an important message for anyone who's listening. Just start. Don't postpone.
Start.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, so, and how has it been running the business now?
Running the business has been... it's been a very interesting journey. So that time when I started, it was exciting because now when I spoke in class, I was talking about very practical things. When I discovered a new supplier, like somewhere to buy fabrics, I would tell the students, if you want this type of fabric, go there. If you want this, and then the people who stitch, there are factories that stitch for you. And if you want it that way, if you want to rent out a space and keep your own fundis, create your own workshop, there are people that do that. So now I was able to speak from a point of knowledge and a point of if you want to do a fashion show, this is what you need to look out for, because I myself did these things. Some were good, some were not interesting, some were wasting my time. So I was able to really talk from a point of knowledge, and everything was exciting and new because and then I realized, with all these things, you just need to ask. So for example, the first time I got featured in the Nairobian I was in an event. I saw Connie Oluoch. She has an article. She does the fashion spread. And I told her, hey, my name is Linda and I have a fashion line. She's like, oh yeah, really? Tell me about it. And I told her, and she's like, okay, I'll send my person on Monday. As in, it was that simple, like a 10-minute conversation. And that's how it kept happening. Just if I say overcoming my fear. Of course, there are people who didn't want to work with me, or some who are funny or not straightforward. But that was the learning process. Yeah. So I would say running the business was very interesting, which I did continuously, and then I left my teaching job in 2019. Yeah. So by that time, I had already done a lot of events. I had done very many pop-up events, pop-up markets. You know what those are?
You can explain them to.
Okay. These are just markets that you get to sell maybe in a restaurant. They're like for a day or two. There's so many these days.
Yeah, so it's like these ones which I usually see in West on Sunday, like
those ones, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think the one thing I really learned, a very important thing, is collaborating with people, because at some point I'd created my own in a friend of mine who has a restaurant in town. Yeah, so she's like, yeah, every time you can just come over on Saturday. Her restaurant doesn't get that filled up, so there's space to take one side. So you see, collaborating with people where you help each other. My clients come buy her food, and then me, I get a venue that I would not have gotten, and I'm not paying for it. Yeah, and also just being out there when you don't have a physical shop as a fashion designer is very important, because people can see you online, but they don't have interaction with your product. So when they know you're going to be somewhere, they can come and see, oh, okay, I like this style. I can touch the fabric. Maybe I can try this dress on. Then they might buy from you then or might not. They might actually buy later in the week or next month. It's important basically.
Yeah, you're building your customer base, your audience.
Oh yeah. And you're becoming real.
Yes, real. Actually, I think that's usually the biggest hurdle, especially on buying any item, clothing item or online. Is I can't try it out. I don't know what
that personal touch.
Yeah, that personal touch is So I think that's a very important thing.
And
also, question is, so when you left teaching because the business had gotten really big at this point.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It had gotten big. I was busy. As I said, I was doing all those events, and then I had gotten into a shop with other fashion designers and jewelry designers at Westgate. So I was at Westgate, and I was also in another shop on Gong Road. There's a designer called Kidosho, and she hosts other brands then you agree on a profit share for a percentage. So I was selling there. I was selling in at Westgate. So things were okay.
Things were moving. Things were working.
Things were moving, yeah. And yes. Online, I was selling on Jumia. Things were working. Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Okay. Now, of course, now we are even narrowing down to even the course that is on ZD and talk about fashion industry in Kenya. And you have to forgive me. I'm not big on fashion. For me, if it fits, I just put it on.
Yes, Bonnie has come far. He has come far.
Come on.
We've seen his pictures the last 5 years.
There are X-Files, eh?
Yes.
It's not that I've come far. Someone has to help dress me because I'm not born that way. Like fashion is good, but for me, if I get a cloth and if I'm in a hurry, whatever I get is what I put on. That's how by there I usually work. Until now, my wife stepped in and she was like, we can't be doing this. This is illegal. I might be arrested by the fashion police.
Fashion police, yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to
ngoma na suti.
Anyway, so Linda, now even as we narrow it down and talk about fashion in Kenya, and even as a business, they're young. I know there are people that are going to listen. They still have interest in fashion. Even maybe you might find a parent sharing this podcast with their kid that they know that are creative, or even a parent listening and they've seen maybe their girl or even their son is creative, is leaning towards that side. What will you tell them about fashion business in Kenya? Like, are there opportunities? Like, can they go to school to study and run fashion as a business? What would you tell them?
Oh, yeah. In Kenya, fashion is a good thing. There's a lot of opportunity. And basically, I can tell you, worldwide, fashion is a multi-billion industry. Billion.
$billion.
So, yes, $1 billion. Yes, sorry. Yeah, not Kenya shillings, $1 billion. Because the thing is, everybody dresses. People do not walk around naked, right? So
the Adam, we don't want to go back to the Adam days.
Even the ones who claim, like Boniati, they don't have style.
But I have
you still
clothes.
Dress.
I do have clothes.
Yes, exactly.
I do have some expensive clothes. It's only
his style is
matching them. That's my biggest problem.
But it's okay. You have a solution in-house, right. So you're sorted. So the thing is, the opportunities are there. Anybody who is creative, for creative people, you will always gravitate towards fashion. You'll find, like I said, even for me, it started when I was a child. It was just there. It doesn't leave you. So I would urge them not to be scared, not to be scared at all. There's opportunity, so many opportunities. There are people doing amazing things, from jewelry to bridal outfits to bags to yani everything. And then the thing is, you for yourself, you figure out what you like. There are people like me, I cannot create for bridal because it's not the thing that makes my heart beat.
Not your taste, yeah.
It's not, but there's somebody who loves bridal outfit, and they can tell you things about when they see an outfit, they can talk about bridal. So you see, there are so many niches these days, and there are so many opportunities. Even there are those who don't like to produce clothing, and they do styling, for example. You see all these people on TV, all these like the news anchors, they're styled by somebody. Their outfits don't just they don't all know how to dress well. There's the way you dress for TV.
I usually think they have to. It's a skill you have to know to be an anchor. How to dress.
They hire somebody to.
You come
help
from
them
home with your shorts.
Yes.
They have already selected what you wear.
Exactly. All these commercials you see, the advertisements, those people are dressed by somebody. The movies, the TV shows, there's always a stylist on every one of those things. There's styling. The fashion industry is very wide. Now it incorporates.
And that is what even I'm picking from you. And what even I'm picking from you is what you wear also sends a message. Like what someone will wear on a different set of a movie will be different from another set of a movie. Like fashion itself can tell you a lot without saying anything. That is incredible. Mm-hmm.
It is the first thing that people judge you by. They look at your face, and they look at what you're dressed in, and then they decide, we like this person, or this person is serious, or it's a child. They want to make you look youthful. They put you in those ripped jeans.
Wow. Yeah, like we saw our politicians the other day. They were wearing is it Air Jordan
Nikes?
Nikes, yeah.
Nikes,
you saw, and when you look at them, wanaenda na njaro zetu sasa.
Yeah.
Wow, do you see it? It's sending that message without sending. Like you are
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, wow. So then parents should not discourage their kids from going to fashion, from going to study fashion, because I'm feeling like there is a big opportunity. There is a gap.
There is a big opportunity.
The Kenyan market, and I know it pays well also.
It does. And as people get into it, you just need to be to do your research. For example, they need, of course, I know the young people, they're on TikTok and Instagram and all these, and there's a lot of information on these things. They are not just for entertainment. There's information. They should follow the people that are doing well and doing well locally, internationally and locally, because you see, when you see the people here, you can see, they went to buy a fabric in Italy. Even me, I can go there. So it's localized and it's accessible. And so when they also should research which is the best school around, they go to that school. And then when they close school, they need to always attach themselves to a tailor or a fashion house. Like for me, always learning. They should always be learning. Always be learning. Because that's how you become great. That's how you become confident. Had I been doing that, by the time I had finished, of course, I would have been so confident to stitch for anyone, anything. But I didn't know. Yeah.
And let me ask, for registering a fashion business, I think it's the same procedure for another business, right? To register that. And the taxes, it's still the same thing. Are you guys highly taxed, or?
It's the same as everyone. The thing, we buy fabrics that come from abroad, so the taxes are there inside the price. And so that's just the way it is. The nice fabrics, the different ones, they are expensive. And that's why sometimes people complain that fashion designers they're charging too much money. But it's not too much money, it's just the right amount of money, because for the amount of skill that this person puts, they'll think about you. They will adjust whatever patterns they have to our bodies, because the thing, remember I talked about commercial patterns. Those patterns, the books to create these patterns, they're all from abroad. For the Western market. They're created for the Caucasian body. Now, as you know, Africans are well endowed. So you always have to adjust. There are areas that it just doesn't work the same. So when a designer is charging however much they are charging, it's for a good reason.
Okay. Wow. Okay. That is very interesting. And as you have said, I'm beginning to remember some of the things that I hear people talk about. Clothes that are coming in from Turkey. I don't know vitenge. The very good vitenges are from Uganda or Rwanda. So, do we have good stuff in Kenya? Must we import clothes from Turkey or vitenge from Rwanda?
So here is the most interesting thing, fabrics, they do come from abroad, Of course, the people are working to create fabrics, like the ones that, the shirts that Uhuru wears, you see those shirts? They are from Rivertex, which is local. It's in Eldoret, And there are other people doing things like this. There are people producing silk, in Ukambani, there are different pockets of people doing things, but it's still growing. So let's see what's going to come in the next coming years. But in terms of quality of stitching, creating, and all that, we don't need to buy clothes from abroad, because you'll find a lot of times you may have to adjust here or there because they just don't fit us the same way. Some things are created for Asian bodies, Caucasian bodies, and it's not the African body. In fact, the EPZ, the export processing zones, those clothes that sometimes come back to Kenya, they are stitched right here at the river, then they go abroad, then they come back, costing a lot of money.
Wow, what a waste.
I know, it's crazy, it's insane, but in terms of quality of the skill is here. There are very good products here, and if you just go online, if you visit, if you go to any of these malls, there's always a local designer somewhere. If you look at those clothes, they are good, they are very good.
Wow. Okay. But I'm already motivated. If I had that if I was creative, I would have gone into this side, because I didn't know there's so much potential. And depending then, if the textile industry is revived in Kenya, I know that this is going even to make the fashion business, of course, even boom and even become even much, much better and even greater. So
completely.
And I know even in the course now you go into details on how you can launch a fashion business, what you need to do, what you're required to have with you. So guys, as you're listening, I want you to know that Linda has a course on the ZD platform. It's known as How to Launch a Successful Fashion Brand. As you have heard from her, there is potential, incredible potential in the Kenyan market for anyone to succeed in this area. And if you're not sure how you can be able to, you have the skill, you know how to do fashion, but you don't know how to do the business side, this is where now Linda comes in. This is her strong point. She can be able to advise you, guide you how to launch and run a successful fashion business. You've heard of how successful her business has been. So she recorded a course on the platform, And we are going to put the link below the podcast so that you gain access to it. You can go watch it, learn, and then get the education. But even as we conclude, I don't know if you have any last words, Linda. You would like to
I have
tell
a last question.
Oh, you have a last question? Okay, you can go ahead.
So, Linda, maybe as you're concluding, you can answer just to ask what prompted the need to do the digital course. That one.
Okay. So, during the COVID period, this is 2020, I was online a lot. And so I'm always doing one or the other course. There's a lot of resources online. There's so many free courses that are available from different websites. So I always find one, and then they just keep coming. There's a way the algorithm starts identifying the things you like. So it starts sending. So as I watched so many of these things, and I just started asking myself, now can't I make one of these things? And since I'm very passionate about teaching the upcoming people, because I always say, had I known what I know now when I was younger, things would have been very different. But I'm still grateful that I went through the path that I went through, because now I'm here so that I can impact on others. So that's how these ideas started coming. I started asking myself, how can I do this? How can I create a course? And so I watched other courses online and found out how to create a course. So I did. I created a full one, and just I researched, and then I created one. And then I had met somebody from ZD, I think in either 2019 or in an event. And so I was so interested in this concept. So, and I had always told myself I'll create a course with these people one day. And then, so the opportunity came. Mm-hmm.
And it happened. And in fact, you have 2 courses on ZD, and one is free. Yeah. Yes. So guys, we'll attach the links. In fact, she gave one for free. And she shares some incredible information, value information for free. So Linda, if someone wants to reach out to you, how can they reach out to you? Do you have a website, a phone number, or an email that you would like to give?
Yes, they can reach out to me on my email, lindamuthamia@gmail.com, or they can reach out to me on Instagram, just the same, Linda Muthamia, or Facebook.
Muthamia. Facebook or Instagram, you can DM her. She has allowed you to DM her. So, so you can reach out to her so that if you need assistance, because I know as much as the industry is growing, still people are not very aware. So she has the experience, more so, as I say, the business side of fashion. So she can be able to guide you if you're struggling, you're trying to make it in this industry. You can reach out to her, and then she will assist you. So thank you so much, Linda, for joining us for today's podcast. It has been fun, and we have learned a lot. Let me say for myself, and I told you that I'm not such a good guy with fashion.
You have helped Boniface a lot. I've seen his fashion sense go up since he started watching.
So I'm in a better place. So thank you so much. So guys, thank you for listening to our podcast. Stay tuned for the next one. Bye-bye.
This week's episode has come to an end, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like and share, comment, get involved. Let us know what you think, what you want to learn next, and join us next time.